Hey, Editor Chris here. This movie has some intense themes, to put it lightly. So we're putting a content warning up top for sexual assault and discussion of themes of sexual assault. So please don't feel pressured to listen if that's something you might be uncomfortable with. Thank you.
Yes, as I walk through the uncanny valley of death, you shall fear no evil, for I am that evil.
We're talking about Titane, the. Alright, no, we're gonna start this one more time. I do want to have information. I'm fucking this up. 2021 movie. I want to at least throw a director out there
Do you
for
know how to pronounce it? Because I've got
Julia
a message.
Ducournau, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. Because I was on it, I had a full thing with me. Like, how exactly do you pronounce this?
Fair. Yeah, I would have looked it up in a second if you didn't say that was good.
Okay, apparently you're also supposed to roll the R in it, but the R
Ducournau.
should be rolled from the back of your throat and not from the tip of your tongue. Apparently, the tip of your tongue
Oh,
is Spanish, and
that's
the back of your
Spanish.
throat is French.
Ducournau.
Corno,
Ducournau. Ducournau.
corno.
Corno. Ducournau. Ducournau. This is
And
fucked
like
up.
the J,
Let's just go
isn't the
with
J like soft as well? It's like
Julia.
Julia Ducorno.
Fucking hell. Alright, I'm looking it up.
Julia
Ducournau. Ducournau.
No, it definitely
Julie.
ends in a straight no. I'm looking at the messages here from mates that is D. They said you're supposed to pronounce it like U dash EOOR dash NO. Corno.
Okay. Okay. Hi, welcome to The Uncanny Valley. We're talking today about Titane from 2021, directed by Julia Ducournau. I
Oh,
fucking
it
hate
was
that.
good. I mean, you gave it. Can no one can complain. You gave it a good shot.
I gave it a good shot. I gave it a good shot. It feels very put on, though. So we're
Is a
talking about
wild.
Titane today. This is a wild movie.
Yeah, it was a wild pick from you because you went. We should stop talking about exploitations and not only speak about a non-English movie, but one that's teetering on like the verge of European art house, French extremity, and has themes of like gender politics and like female anatomy. Like you put us in shit's creek without a paddle.
Yeah, we're gonna be orienting ourselves in a sandstorm on this one. The best place to
I
start
don't.
is the beginning, right? We've got a kid and their dad in a car, and this kid's a real shithead. Just kicking the seat, making noise, making car noises. I feel like this kid is already just weird about cars before
um,
this whole thing happens.
was that your take from it? My take from it was she was just trying to get like attention from her father. Did you just think she was an autistic kid that liked cars?
In the past, I've felt the way you've felt. I've watched this one full time, and I've watched the first half of it one time with friends, and then fell asleep. Um, More to say about the time I started watching it and what my day was like, rather than the movie. But
I was gonna say
yeah,
this is a very hard movie to fall asleep during. Not exactly dull
it's
at any point.
not really. No, no, it's pretty wild of me to have to take a couple days to watch this movie. I also started it last night and then fell asleep because I was out with a friend and drinking, and then I just figured finish it today.
Oh, I can't watch a movie whilst I've been drinking. What about it? Like my brain just doesn't focus on the film whatsoever. Not
No,
a
it
single
didn't
drink
work.
in me.
Yeah, it has to be
Oh
something
no.
I've seen before, I feel like.
Nah, even then I saw a Nightmare on Elm Street in cinemas whilst drunk and I could not lock in whatsoever. I was so bored.
So boring. I just
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that I was bored. My focus kept drifting. So I wanted to make sure I paid attention watching through it again.
Okay, so we've got shithead kids causing issues in the car. They unclick their seatbelt. The dad leans over to try and help, and we get pretty rapid car smash.
Pretty good.
Wait,
Good looking car smash.
good looking car smash. I wonder if it was practical or not. So it's going to be hard to pull that one off. But surely it must be. Maybe
Yeah,
you
it's
just
hard
get
to
the best
say.
boy of the boom mic guy to do it for you.
It's very sudden. I didn't quite process if it was practical or not. I just liked how it looks and feels. It feels bad.
Weirdly, not the first French extremity movie to start with a car crash with a child.
What else?
Inside, the Christmas movie.
No, I haven't seen Inside.
You haven't seen Inside. Like, if we're going French extremity, how much do you know about the French extremity scene?
Very little. I've seen Raw before, but
We all heard Julia Ducournau.
yeah. Martyrs I've seen.
You've seen Martyrs. Have you seen High Tension?
No.
Tenebrae, I think's one, isn't it? Hold on, let me pull up a list because I'm going to start mentioning shit. The High Tension can also be named Switchblade Romance. Maybe you know of that.
No.
No. French.
I do
Oh,
not.
you know I like horror when my phone autofills French to French extremity.
Yeah,
Have you
that's
seen Eyes Without a Face?
no.
Possession. That's not French. That's Polish, I'm sure. Hold on, this list is fucked up. There we go.
Yeah, that's like Google AI fucking with you.
Reddit,
What's
help
the
me. No, it's IMDb. It's fucking with me.
home invasion one? It's not Frontiers. Is it?
It is Frontiers. That's.
Okay.
Oh my. Why is there no list of French extremity films? You like your Gaspar Noé? Gaspar Noé?
I do. I
Or do
love
you?
Climax. I don't know if I've seen any other Gaspar Noé movies. I've been meaning to. There's the one about the witches. That's pretty short. That seems good.
Have you seen In My Skin from 2002?
No.
Calvary from 2004?
No. I believe so.
Frontiers.
That's one I'm meaning to watch.
Them. I've never heard of them. That doesn't help. Inside, we've mentioned. Yeah, you've seen Coralie Farget's movies, Revenge and Substance. I would argue that aren't French. You just have French people behind the scene.
Mm.
Titane's also in this list. Martyrs and Climax. Never mind. French
Okay.
Extremity is about 10 films. Oh well then.
You're
I
cutting
was
off
going to say
ever so slightly now. Matt. I don't know if your mic is far away from you.
my mic is basically in my mouth, Chris.
Okay, okay.
Maybe that's we can do. We can pull all the ones you've not seen and throw like a French extremity when it comes to the May month.
Yeah, we
I
should
don't
figure
know
that
how
out.
tired you would get. That's just a no. Figure that out. I
I'd like
take
to
that as
work
a
them
no.
in. I'd like to watch all of these. I don't know if I could do a whole French extremity month. That might be too intense.
Yeah, it's fine. This is a bit of blood. Or is it
It's
just
a
the
bit of
French
blood.
people you don't want to put up with?
No, the themes are grim as hell in these French movies I've seen.
French people be like that. They're just a sad group of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so car crash. Kid hit the head pretty bad. Surgical gore. For some reason, we keep going back to that. Pretty good. It looks like something you'd see on like a medical documentary.
Yeah, it's rough to watch this kid getting a metal plate in their head.
Can't imagine what it feel like to have a metal plate put in your head. I feel like I would always be conscious that I have part of a metal skull.
Definitely would. I'd probably start drumming on.
Oh, do you think if you got like a drumstick and hit you side of your head, you'd make a little?
Yes, and I'd do that.
My knuckles can do that. Play them like a xylophone.
Oh, hell yeah. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. People always think it's a joke until we find a pencil.
That's a good
I
party
can
trick.
give a little drum solo.
Nice.
Kids fucked up. The dad seems a little we say absent-minded? Well, how would you describe the dad in this scene?
Definitely, the dad is. To me, the dad seems to be thinking more about the cost and the frustration of the healing process for their kid rather than the fact that their kid sustained an injury.
Do the French have to pay?
That's a great question. I don't know.
French
I don't know.
healthcare, a universal mandatory system called the Protection Universelle. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Social security contributions. Is it free? Hold on. French healthcare free. It isn't completely free. Heavily subsidized though.
Okay.
You pay up front, get reimbursed for about 70%. Too bad. Paying
Yeah,
up front's a bit bullshit. I think we would just cut the 70 right there, wouldn't you?
yeah,
But
yeah. It
100% for
seems
severe or long-term illnesses. I can't complain about
I would classify this as severe and long term.
that.
Maybe
Hey,
not
guy's got no
illness.
issues then. It's not. Well, she does have some illness.
Yeah, she's got some severe illnesses that are unrelated to the metal plate.
Moving on from the opening scene.
Well, it's worth
Very
noting
important.
while she's still a kid that she starts caressing this car once they come out of the hospital.
It's something to put a pin in.
Yeah.
You can't really say too much about it at this point in time. Although the
No, but it's
following
worth
scene,
noting that it's happening so soon.
I'm sure you'll deem very important. I'm pretty sure you rewound this a couple of times. Make sure you had all the details right.
Okay, hit me.
What do you mean hit you? A very memorable scene, Chris.
Is this the not Fast and Furious party?
This is the not Fast and Furious party with a minute and a half long scene.
Yeah, with a good dance sequence on the hood of a car.
Very well shot. But I feel
Absolutely,
like
it looks gorgeous.
no way you can bring this to people and be like, I like how it's shot without giving Gunnar vibes. Bro, it's art. It's art.
Yeah, saying it's art doesn't help the defense in that case, I don't think. I think it makes you sound more sus.
I opened the chat and I just saw Evil Larry, Pinar, and Erin saying tummy rumbling.
I don't know what you just
I opened the chat by accident and fucking the cats from last week were back and they jump scared me.
Oh, okay. That's why I have no idea what you're saying because you taught me about
Oh,
PR and Larry. There
did
you
you?
go.
Okay, I'm going over to my notes because that's threw me off.
Well, after this dance sequence, one of the most notable awful scenes in this movie is the main character's hair getting stuck on someone's nipple piercing.
Oh yeah, that's you ever been stuck to a piercing like that or had? I don't. Do you have any piercings, Chris?
I do not.
No, so you've never had the pain of being trapped in a piercing.
No, but it still hit me viscerally. It feels awful.
I've only ever had it once occur in my life, and it was my septum in someone's lip ring, and that's a
Oh my.
very awkward stance to try and get yourself out of.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts so
Yikes.
bad you feel like because it's healed it shouldn't hurt, and it really does. I feel like every time we talk about a film, I always have some kind of medical issue correlating.
Yeah, it started in our first episode, literally, where you brought up your saw accident with your finger.
I was wondering the importance of the scene because this is the first time I've seen this movie, and I can't gauge really what it's supposed to be other than the concept of a piercing is just a metal bar through flesh and through like something that's seen as a sexual object. Because we
Hmm.
focus on pierced nipples a lot, and I think it's only this time that my brain's like even then I feel like there's something I'm missing around the whole nipple piercing lactation, what we'll come back to later on aspect of this movie. Chris, I need your
Yeah,
opinions on this one.
for me, it's just a very visceral. The nipple is such a sensitive part of the body, and it's always covered with something, typically. So having it be exposed like this and turned into a moment of horror, I feel like it was just trying to be affecting more than anything. And then also it shows that the main character effectively doesn't really care about if taking it out is going to hurt her coworker.
I'm due for a nipple tattoo at some point, and the thought of it, like, it fills me with so much dread. It's like the only part of my body I've ever been scared to feel what it's
No,
gonna feel like.
I hate that. We're getting into deep TMI territory, but as someone with very sensitive nipples, that scene affected me, and just thinking about getting a tattoo makes me feel
Oh,
very.
I'm part. You, me, and Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy are all part of the Sensitive Nipple Crew. See, high school shop. The amount that they would scrape. But the fact that they don't, like, there's no padding in the chest area. Even as a
Yes,
guy,
I got made fun of in high school because of the way shirts would
because
irritate
oh, I mean, you don't go parading around my nipples or so to your classmates. I feel like that's asking to get bullied.
me.
You simply
No,
just
but
walk and go,
they would
ah,
be noticeable, I guess, is the best way to put it.
oh, you gushing blood out your boobs in the middle of class.
No, but people in high school just made fun of me for having visible nipples under my shirt because the shirts would irritate. I don't know. I'm not one
But
of the
it's
people
a
that make
white,
fun of me. I just lived through it.
it's a, it's a white shirt. Anyone's wearing a white shirt, you can see their nipples through it if you look hard enough. Why is this a you issue?
Not white, different colors, just thinner fabric, I guess.
I think we need to get off the
Yeah, we
nipple
gotta get
talk.
off nipple talk. This is too much. This is now officially too much information.
Our Spotify chapters is just be like nipple debate.
No, I don't need a nipple
Nipple
chapter.
conundrum. Nah, the nipple conundrum, but it'd be better than the Predator's autistic upgrade.
True.
Okay, so Alexia, she walks off from her I assume like it's like a side job dancing on people's cars. I don't really know how that's a business, but it seems she's made a name for herself as a car
Yeah,
dancer.
she must tour because this guy who comes up to her says he saw her in Berlin, was it?
Yeah, but Berlin's known for having like weird, alternative, extravagant night shows. So I feel like that might just be a place that like Alexis went on holiday and that before.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
like
I
if
sort of
you
assumed this was her main gig.
if she's walking back to her car, she has this obsessed fan sprinting after her.
This dude
And
sucks.
uh, but I feel like I've seen him before. I've seen this man somewhere else.
He looks familiar. Yeah.
He chases Alexia. That's her name, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Alexia.
think I've done good at remembering names this time. To her car and ask for her autograph. She feel weird saying she due to the nature of this movie, but we'll stick with it until it hits turning point. Her for her autograph. She agrees, but more of just a way to dissuade him from staying around. And he forces himself upon her in the car. A very, very not nice scene.
It's
Um,
rough.
it's very rough. And like this is in like 7 episodes. This is 2 times we've had assault in a car. We really need to. We
We
need
need
to
to
pick a
stay away
lane
from.
here. We need to get out of this.
Yeah. Get out
Um,
of this tar pit.
Alexia, she
It's
uses her.
nice that this scene
Mhm.
results in sort of a. I can't find the. That there's a conclusion to this horrible thing in this scene, but it's also so uncomfortable that she has to go along with it to get to a place where she can get out of it. And that's a very real feeling situation, which is, it makes it very rough.
And the way she gets out of it using the crochet needle that she holds her hair up with through
Love
the
this. Yeah.
eardrum. Incredible scene. It's like the thing that hooks you when you first start watching, aside from the beautiful like lighting and direction that this movie has. So gross as fuck scene. Did I put that in?
Yeah, he's spitting on bile right after getting
It,
stabbed in the ear.
yeah, it's like it looks like almost out of date milk. It's this frothy white
Oh,
long. That always visceral from you there. Never heard that
horrible.
noise come out your mouth. Uh, we lead on to she dumps his body in the back of her car and realizes she's covered in his weird milky vomit. Goes back into the warehouse for a shower, which is where we get the scene this movie's most famous for. Yes, you want to take this one away.
Is this when she's fucking a car?
This is when she's fucking a car.
Yeah, this is wild. This is
I feel
the
like you
first
can.
two times in this movie. They do it this time too, right? Where you hear the noise and you get a sense of what's happening before you see that it's not two people having sex, that it's a person having sex with car, with that drive shift.
Yeah, but it's like the car's sentient. It's like cars also engaging in it.
It is, yeah. The car is bouncing. And she's not activating any suspension on a
I like how
mechanical.
you went into the details with it. You're like, she should be pressing something. Hold on, there's something fishy.
No, it's effective. It's creepy, and it is just slightly. What's great about scenes like this in this movie is that these French extremity movies are so tied to reality and real feeling things that this going just 12 degrees off of reality to make you feel like the car is also in on the act. It makes it very eerie.
And I don't think it's supposed to be taken as she's really fucking a car. Like, for me, the whole scene before it with her obsessed fan and the scene surrounding the car is it's American muscle car she uses, which are seen as quite a masculine like car to driving. And I always took this as more of like a almost metaphorical for like a like rather violent rape, which is this could be a rough movie to talk about. But following her having sex with the car scene, you see her in her bedroom with oil between her legs, and she's pretty bruised up, and she's in the house, but she's not really talking to her family, and she's just zoning out watching the TV. And it's like it's really rough, but you can see why people taking it at just face value, they're like, "Oh, this is just a strange car sex film."
Yeah, it's abstracted enough that it can be hard to latch onto the themes of the movie at times, which I don't mind. You know, it's an art house movie. It's not trying to draw every connection directly for the viewer. It's leaving a lot to interpretation.
Yeah, but it's strange the way she frames it though, because it's like the film is like teetering on art house, but it's cohesive enough that you can watch it without viewing it as like it's not framed in an art house way. It's more of our art house scenes spread throughout your kind of I don't want to say like your stereotypical like film story blocking, but you get what I mean, don't you?
I definitely do. Yeah, because there's a lot of weird or abnormal moments peppered into this movie that really tries to tie it down in authenticity.
Yeah, I feel this would be a good eight-way film for people getting into art house because it's not asking so much from the viewer that your standard, especially European art house would do, where a lot of it's abstract and very up for interpretation. More, you're given a narrative with moments that are abstract and up for interpretation, and it's more trying to find the puzzle pieces to make the narrative fit rather than it's up for you to create your own narrative because of the movie.
Yeah, the
Uh,
narrative is very clear in this movie, which is frankly nice for an art house movie because sometimes they can be very, very abstract.
so we're in the house following the murder, and you see on the TV that there's a serial killer on the loose. Whether or not that's our protagonist Alexa is kind of, I think it's supposed to be up for interpretation at that point. And there's also been a lot of fires going on around the city, which will tie in later on. It's more just sprinkling information for you to know the moment. And immediately it seems like this is a very heightened pregnancy because Alexa has become pregnant with the car, which is a wild statement. But she immediately the following day seems to at least internally know she's pregnant. Um,
This
she
is
gets
what
her car.
mostly draws. I didn't get, to be honest, the sexual assault interpretation of this, but this scene of her waking up and examining her legs for bruises and noticing that something is wrong with her really does make that feel legitimate to me. We're definitely going to put a trigger warning on this episode because it's going to get heavy.
You can put a little editor note this time rather than me having to do it.
Yeah,
There's a fair amount you have to trigger warn for this movie, I would say.
definitely. Yeah.
And so she gets checked out from her dad. So it seems her dad is also a doctor to some degree, and that disconnect between the both of them still seems to be there. Like he just kind of touches her stomach and he's like, "Ah, you're fine."
Yeah, I would
That's
argue she
that's
doesn't really get checked out by him. He sort of avoids fully making sure she's okay.
yeah. He's almost hesitant to not even touch her
Yeah.
during the scene. We cut back to, is this the same girl from the nipple ring scene?
I think it is. I also want to make a note in this last scene of we do get our first news report of the missing child, which we're going to come back to later.
Multiple missing children, is there not?
Oh, multiple. I was only clued
Yeah,
into the one because I was aware of the plot of this, but it's been so
yeah.
long
Because
since I've seen it.
do you not watch it yesterday? You're tripping.
I watched the first act of it yesterday before falling asleep, and then I finished it
Oh,
today.
okay, so fair enough. So we cut to Alexis with the girl that she met during the nipple tango scene, and it seems they're at this weird swinger party. I don't really think too much is supposed to come from a swinger party. More just of it's more just supposed to be about like Alexia's proclivity for more word I'm looking for here. Not like alternative lifestyle, but she more like rebellious against like your typical societal constraints, like lifestyle that she has. And
Rebellious, and also I would say it ties into her family dynamic that she is. What I interpret is that she's searching for validation a lot of the time.
yeah, I could say it, especially when in the clips where she's at home, it's like a nice home. Her mum and dad are always they're dressed very tight and proper. It's like a definite middle to upper class family she's in. She's very much the black sheep of the family.
Yeah, they should have the means and access to pay attention to her, and they don't. And that is what makes me feel like she is sort of on a quest for personal validation and feeling seen on a level.
She's with Apple Ring Girl, and they started to get a little freaky down by the pier. For
And
Alexis
she's
take this.
really going at it on the other nipple at this point.
You need to make sure both sensitive.
Well, yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is gonna be a weird one to talk about.
It is
What
going
led
to
you
be a
pick
weird
this?
one. The girl obviously she's like, why are you full on scratching my nipple? I'm gonna go into the house now. And Alexa goes to the oh god, she goes to the this is also a fuck scene. She goes to the bathroom and she notices the little baby bump coming in her stomach, and it's like oil discharge comes out.
Horrible. Genuinely horrible.
This is 2 movies in a row that you've picked where the oil fluid appears. You've got like a running theme on the go.
Yeah, it's very
Uh,
relatable for me.
do you want
I
to
don't
talk
know.
about what she
Let's
does?
move past this. Let's move past this.
We can't move past this because she takes her crochet hook that she used to uh, defend herself against her assaulter,
Oh, she
and
throws up in the river before she notices that. There is sort of a morning sickness moment she has also.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Um, she tries to abort her oil baby herself in the bathroom. Chris, why did you choose this movie?
I don't know, this is horrible. This is a rough thing to throw in our oeuvre right at the start of it.
We were right at the beginning of recording. We've talked about rape and
So many
abortion,
horrible
Chris.
things.
Um,
She does a pregnancy test, right? Is this before
yeah,
everything
she
else goes
does.
out?
She does a pregnancy test, and it's positive. But I think by this point in the movie, you kind of like
Yeah, they're
she
making
already knows, and you
it's
already
best
know. More,
she can fully confirm it, and so that the audience can see her reaction to really confirming it and not having any more doubt.
she gets dragged out of the bathroom by nipple ring girl into a fun scene, an interesting scene. I feel like I've been talking too much. Chris, you want to take this one?
No, I don't. I don't want to take it because I hate my notes here. Um,
Give me your
so
notes.
this is right after they're on the couch together, right?
Yeah, we go out, we go to the couch, we
My
have a
first
nice
note,
little snuggle moment.
my first note after the pregnancy test is anger, and then my next note is getting head, stab in the head. For some reason, that's what I decided
I
to put.
put the swinger house slaughter.
Swinger House Slaughter is way more eloquent. Yeah. It's horrible though. This stab does not work,
Does
and
not work whatsoever.
no, it's just through this girl's cheek. It's horrible.
Just give me a rundown. How does
It's
everyone get snuffed?
yeah, it's gnarly. This girl pulls the thing out of her cheek and sort of starts throwing herself at Alexia as in an attempt to stop everything, but it just doesn't work. Then we have this other guy come downstairs, or he's already downstairs, and Alexia fails to kill him with the chopstick that she keeps in her hair, and then shoves this is where the sort of sexual assault imagery did kick in for me a bit more, where she is shoving a chair leg down his throat to sever his spine.
Oh, did she sever her spine? I didn't notice that. I was too busy taking notes.
I have to assume because he is fighting back too much, and then he gets distracted by somebody up on the stairs, and she grabs a stool and smashes his head in a couple of times with it, and then manages to get it into his mouth, into the back of his throat, and smashes it down once, and he's dead. And I have to assume that's his spine breaking.
She takes a little seat break on top of him for a moment.
She does. She takes a little break. She deserves a little rest. She's been working hard.
And then there's a girl from above the stairs, chases her up into the bathroom with a fire poker.
This girl's doing her best. This girl kind of rules.
But then we get the friendliest man at this party.
This poor guy. Yeah.
He just woke up. He's like, "What's going on? Are you okay?"
He's covering himself too. He's fully naked, but he's got his hands on his crotch.
Yeah, it's a swinger party, but you don't want to seem unkempt.
True.
He takes the fire poker to the back.
Before that, what I found really interesting is that she hugs him, and obviously it's disarming. Part of it is that she wants him to not expect that she's trying to kill him, but this is the first scene in the movie where I find the really fascinating dynamic of she really wants validation. She wants to feel connected to somebody or something. The hug doesn't feel just deceptive. It feels like she is taking a moment for herself.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then she stabbed him in the back with the fire poker, and I feel real bad because this guy's very sweet.
Yes, he's living his best life up in the swinger parties.
Yeah.
The other girl, he bolts it from the bathroom, and they have a little tussle on the stairs.
She's so smart. She hears that this guy is getting eviscerated. She waits until she hears more violence occurring, knowing that the assaulter will be distracted and sprints out of the bathroom. Gets caught on the staircase, and they have a little drag out, but she knocks Alexia hard against the wall, drawing blood, and manages to escape. This girl rules.
Yeah, and it ties back to the opening scene with the metal plate in her head, with her father asking, "Is there any way at any point this can become dislodged or cause issues?" And like, no, only through violent impacts could that ever happen.
Oh, I forgot about that. Interesting. Okay.
See, it's a little tie back. For me, like the scene does kind of feel a bit like kind of thrown on you last moment, but initial reading, and I think it stays consistent with the rest of the movie, is Alexia in her brain, violence and sexuality are kind of intertwined. Like it's more of a release thing. Because you can also take it back to the girl with the nipple biting, and then the swinger party with massacre, and then the car that she got hurt with, she ends up having sex with later on. I feel like a lot of it's that's why I took a lot of it to be sexual assault themed, especially with, as I said, like an American muscle car being a very masculine, like it's very tied in with like hyper masculine culture. And these like Fast and Furious drag racing parties are also tied in with that sort of like cool guy lifestyle. I think there's an interesting through line through all of it.
I agree, and for me, what's very interesting is there is the undercurrent of seeking validation, seek that it feels like for the whole no one to her on the level.
Yo, Chris, you're cutting off a lot.
Give me 1 second. I need to talk really loud. I'm gonna cut this out. 1 second. I think Mike.
You're gone completely.
Brother, why is my mic doing this? Okay. Alright. This is gonna be
Okay.
fucking. Let's
How
see.
do
I'm
we
gonna keep
always have so
talking.
many mic issues?
I don't know. I'm not. I didn't even change anything, but the heater turned on, which I think is making my mic not pick up.
Made it's made the metal of your table expand, and thus has moved your mic ever so slightly away from you.
Well, it's a wood table I'm using, so maybe.
Holy shit! I opened Twitter to see a video of someone getting their testicle surgically removed. Oh my god!
What? Elaborate. I hate that
It's
I'm
only
asking you
one
to
of them.
elaborate.
They're like they've done an incision and they're like peeling it off, but they're using a laser to like uh collar it shut as they're peeling off. Oh,
God. Uh, so
oh,
what I find interesting is that Alexia is searching for validation and searching for personal connection from the start of the movie. Even with her father, she's not getting a personal connection that she really wants. I think you're right. I think that she's searching for any sort of attention in that scene. It's not just that she's being an annoying kid. And through the movie, people aren't meeting her on her level. She's not able to find people who can meet her on her level. So she keeps finding these small moments of connection. There's one towards the very end of the movie that I find fascinating that we'll get back to. Even just down to hugging. Is it Remy? The name of the big guy at the party?
uh, Rubber. I said I can remember names in this one. I'm not remembering the character that's in it for 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So she gets her head smashed against the wall. That's where we're at, right?
Yeah, she tries to make a break for it. She goes home, grabs her stuff. Sees her father sleeping in bed. She locks the door on him as she bolts out,
Oh,
and she
this.
makes it.
But
Yeah.
she. It looks like she's about to go in to steal something. She tries to quietly open the door while they're sleeping, and it feels like she's about to steal money from her parents. And her dad
Mm-hmm.
notices her stepping in, and she just tries to pretend like it didn't.
Mm-hmm. But she doesn't try to pretend. She locks him in her bedroom.
Yeah, true.
She makes a break for. It was pissing me off. Because for this next scene, I couldn't tell if it was an airport, train station, or a bus station. It's some kind of transportational hub. That's all I can go with.
There's a few
With
cutaway scenes to transport hubs that I tried to note down, but it was I didn't understand where we were.
you don't understand where that was leading. You went down the wrong thread.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, she gets there. The police are swarming the place, and she finds there's this big billboard showing like missing children's cases, what they would look like if they were aged up nowadays. And she notices she kind of resembles one of them.
She notices the police sketch first, right? That assumedly the girl who escaped the party gave the cops. She notices a sketch of her and then notices the missing kid posters, or is it the other way around?
I don't. She notices both of them on the way to hide in the bathroom anyway.
In the same 20-second span, yeah. And it's very clear that she's drawing a connection. The movie makes a point to show you that she's drawing a connection between.
So she
And now I'm
decides she's
switching to
going
my
to.
physical notes. I'm switching off my phone to my physical notes because I'm a maniac and I decided to. These are all the notes I took while I was before I fell asleep last night, and then when I got up today, I took physical notes on a notepad.
Okay, are you prepared?
I'm prepared. I'm here. I
You're
just thought it
prepared.
would be funny to know. I want people to see the inside baseball.
Okay, I feel like that's such an American term, but I picked it up because the streamers fucking inside baseball. I
Oh,
assume you have
it's
a.
so American. Yeah, I was thinking about that while I was saying it.
I assume you have got like a side TV show that gives like the behind the scenes of different baseball teams.
Brother, I haven't watched baseball since I was 14. I don't know what inside baseball refers to. I just know that it means behind the scenes.
Okay, right. Thanks for the
It's
American
one of
helping out on that
those
one.
cultural osmosis terms, I guess.
Okay, so we're at the disguise scene. Kinda, this is gonna be my gnarly for the movie. Gnarly ass disguise scene. I'm looking at it right now actually. TV cuts
This
her hair
is
off.
the most I was yelling out audibly during watching this movie. This was hard to watch. The nipple piercing scene was the first bit, and then this, her trying to disfigure herself enough to resemble this kid, or pass as resembling, I guess is a better way to put it. This was hard.
I think she's more just trying to fuck her face up so she's unrecognizable to most people. So
Yeah,
she
that's
just
what
looks
I mean.
like, yeah.
So she can look like the kid has endured enough that he doesn't look like himself anymore, basically.
So we get hair chopping. She gives herself 2 black eyes, which is, I mean, it's bad, but I've seen Jackass do it. The baby
She runs
bump,
on a treadmill and she drinks the sweat that she collects from the treadmill.
and she finds a leech and she puts it in her eye. And she does a whole lot of cocaine. Okay, there's 2 here that are equally as bad, I would say. But
the pregnancy binder also got me.
Yeah, the pregnancy, but the sound design during the pregnancy binder scenes, the crunch noise it makes every time she does it is.
I had a lot of visceral reactions in this movie.
There's one scene coming up later on that is the only film I think I could describe as giving me the heebie-jeebies. We'll get to that when it comes to it.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear what could give you the heebie-jeebies.
We also get a nose break against the edge of the sink. Pretty metal.
Oh,
you need to respect it.
That's the hardest thing in the movie for me to watch. That was...
And her nose is fucked up.
Oh my god, yeah.
She gains like a beak.
Jesus Christ. That was... I'm not even having a good time remembering it right now.
So she's made her mask disguise and passes this Adrian boy. And the police bring in the father, Vincent. And
I love the way they cut. I love the way that they segment the act break from Act 1 to Act 2. You don't see her contact the police or anything, right? You see her do all of this, and they help you understand why she's doing this, to impersonate the kid, to escape the police search. But at this point, once she disfigures herself, we cut, and Vincent, you said, is the name of this character? I don't remember this name.
Yep. Or the dad.
Vincent,
you can just go with the dad, either or.
The dad is presented almost as a new main character instead of an ancillary character to her story. It's introducing him and his story as just as valuable and just as resonant to the movie as hers, because they are going to become codependent, because they both are seeking validation in very similar ways. And we'll get more.
So the police bring in Vincent, and he right off the bat identifies Alexia as Adrian. I feel like from this point on, we're probably better just referring to them as Adrian. So it's the names and the pronouns are going to be a wee bit wishy-washy as we go on from this point.
They are. I had trouble making the notes, but I do want to say, as a cis straight male, I have to mention, I didn't get an extreme sense of gender dysphoria from this character, from Alexia. I had trouble noting it because of the way the story is presented and how she's presenting herself at any given moment, but I never got the sense that she was seeking to escape from the way she defined herself originally.
No, I could. Well, obviously, again, being a straight cis man, it's hard for me to put anything definitive on, but I felt like throughout the entire first act, it was always presenting as pretty... Like, she wasn't hyper feminine. She was rather masked. The only time we see like hyper femininity in her was her dancing on the car, which
True.
was an act anyway. It was more of a job.
Which is really interesting that you would present it that way, because we're going to come back to the dancing at some point.
Yeah, the dancing's a strange yet interesting through line. So
it's
Vincent,
maybe the most interesting part of her character to me, the way that comes back.
So Vincent takes Adrian home. Say Adrian from here on out.
Yeah, that's how the story's presented. I think that's fair.
He seems like a lovely older man. Like he has some anger issues clearly that he has to work through, but I don't see that as a negative of his character. I think it humanises him more. That he would be frustrated in the situation.
My first note is brother is roided up, and then I have a note about his body dysmorphia at some point in here.
So you clocked that from the get go. This man's he's beefcaked.
Yes, but beefcaked in a way. It's not in this immediate scene that we get the sense of his dysmorphia, but there's a scene pretty quickly where we see him looking at himself in a mirror, and even though he looks crazy, he looks absolutely nuts, he's not satisfied.
See, my first note for him was, seems like a nice and understanding man. And you're just like, oh, he definitely takes steroids.
He seems in denial more than understanding to me.
No, he's in denial, but even from the get-go, he's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't have to talk. We can just get home. We'll deal with this whole situation later. Even when Adrian tries to run away, he grabs, but he's not violent with him. He's just like, hey, you're okay. You're not going to get hurt. We're just going back home. He offers to change our clothes from like the second we get in the door. He's lovely. You're saying, oh, look at this drug addict.
I see him as an addict. I mean, there's a scene, we'll get to it in a second, where he's slapping Adrian, our main character.
Yeah, but I think that's something different, but we'll reach that point when we get to it. This is going to be very all over the place.
It is.
Is his name Rian at the door? How do you remember his name at all?
No.
The guy that... Okay, Vincent's a firefighter, and it's a little kiss ass underneath him. The guy with the shaved head.
Oh yes, no, I have that guy noted as. Let me double check my notes. I believe I have him as Fireboy.
Fireboy.
Which, yeah, I like that. I think that's funny rather than Fireman's Fireboy.
Okay, we'll call him Little Fireboy.
Little Fireboy. Not
we meet
Prince
Fireboy. Not Prince. No, well, he's Fire Prince, isn't he?
That's true. That's true.
Well, we meet Fireboy at the door, and he's brown nosing as hard as it can be. He's brought back Vincent a little packed lunch for his dinner because he's like, I know you made a long trip.
I miss this. I love that so much.
He seems, I suppose, nice towards Adrian at first, a little hesitant, but that may be more due to Adrian refusing to speak, to engage with those around you. And then, as we're in the house,
is the only reason why he's being kind.
Yeah. In the house, as I said, he took Adrian's clothes. Vincent offered to wash them for him. And then you get, I just put shoots up unknown drug. I don't know if it's adrenaline, if it's testosterone, if it's steroids.
I took it as steroids both times.
He's plugging something in his ass.
Yeah.
I feel if we're going for the trans themes of the movie, testosterone might be a more interesting choice to be going for it. But I know Julia has already said she won't explain anything from the movie, so that's just something we're going to have to theorize.
Yeah, I guess what's interesting is I didn't. Again, I'm a cis male. I don't have full personal context to speak on all of these themes, and I'd love people to write in if they have comments. But I got more dysmorphia themes than dysphoria, active body dysphoria.
So you should have chose this movie. This is why I would never choose I Saw the TV Glow, even though I think it's a great film.
No, you're
I'd be
right.
too
Yeah.
scared. Shoots up in his ass, and then brings Adrian some new clothes. And again, he's such a sweetheart. He gives Adrian a little nose brace to help with her broken nose. He offers to shave the little mop top we've got going on off her head. He
I
sees
noted
the
that
head.
I
Yeah,
noted that Alexia looks like a Persona character with this little blue hat on.
Persona character.
Yeah, she looks like someone who would be in the Velvet Room in Persona.
He gives Adrian the little hat to help cover the little head scar, and he's like, "There you go, you're looking okay now." I don't know about the choice of bringing Adrian straight to work the very next day. I feel like that's a wee bit irresponsible of him.
Absolutely insane of this man to do. Yeah. I have to say, and this is another rough theme to tackle. I don't know how much to talk about this, but you pretty quickly get the sense that the real Adrian probably left because their father is too physically attached to them, that he is potentially harboring some immoral feelings towards his son because he's getting very, very close.
Oh, I just thought he was French. I was like, he's a bit weird, but he's French, isn't he? That's
Fair.
I took it more as something happened to cause a divide between him and his son that made him go away. So he's now being overly,
Okay.
attached to them and trying his hardest to keep them as close as possible. But I don't know. Maybe he's French. Maybe he wants to fuck his son. That's up for that's up for debate, I suppose.
Since you've said it, I think he wants to fuck his son. That's the impression I get.
You think, oh well, this heartwarming film is now went down the toilet for me.
Why did I make us talk about this?
Why did you? I had no inklings of incest, and you're like, yeah, no, it's definitely fucking his son.
That's what I get. That's why I get his son ran away, is because he was overly attached.
So we're on first day at work. It seems like all the firefighters are fucking assholes. I don't know how this man's Vincent's procured this ragtag team of dickheads. We're all
don't want to speak out of
yeah.
hand, but I feel like firefighters are similar to cops. They just have this vibe.
I feel like if they were going down that line, they probably would have just made them police officers. I feel like if they were trying to say something to do with that, not having them as police officers would be a strange decision. But again, who knows? Yulia said she's not doing it. So
I feel like they're trying to make you think that they are cops very, very briefly because Alexia gets into the dad's car and he has a radio go off, and it makes you question for a moment if he is a cop, or me at least. It made me question.
well, first day goes off mostly without a hitch. We just kind of Adrian gets bullied a little bit, and the dad tells him fuck off.
The dad has a great monologue about, I am God to you. This is my son. That means he is Jesus, and Jesus will speak when he chooses to, and you will listen when Jesus speaks.
I like the other firefighter turns goes, I didn't know Jesus was white and gay.
I wrote down that this firefighter is pretty woke for saying that Jesus wouldn't be white. I like that.
Yeah, but also calling your new co-worker gay is an insult.
True.
Pretty unwoke.
Yeah, pretty uncalled for. Pretty off base.
Maybe he's the woke one of the crew, but he needs to throw in a little curveball at the end so we don't know.
Yeah, he needs to play into it a little bit.
So we cut back to a very uncomfortable scene in the house where Vincent is trying to pressure
The
Adrian
drunk
to
dance
talk.
party.
No, we're at the dinner table scene
Okay.
where he's like, why won't you just say yes to me? A parrot can say yes. Not even a
Oh, right.
human has
Yeah.
to
You
say
don't even
yes.
have to be human to say yes, he says. My phone will say yes to me.
Hmm. And then he says his phone was only $20, which is insane. I don't know where he's getting his phones from.
That's fair. That's a good point. That's
Which
maybe
is
the
the
craziest statement in this whole movie, which is saying something.
Big Julie, she's not one of the working class people. She thinks a phone's worth $20.
Doesn't know how
And
much milk costs.
yeah, Adrian's lactating a little oil. Vincent's like, hold on, what's going on here? And causes a skirmish, which this is a very interesting scene. They get in a small fight, and as Adrian goes to leave, Vincent slaps on his Spotify and starts giving it a little boogie.
Yeah, this is what I had
Yeah,
written as dance party.
it's dance
I don't.
party, one of many.
I wrote this dude rules. I don't know why I wrote that specifically. This is a very complex scene.
So you thought this dude was fucking his son, but the second he puts on a banger, you're like, alright, okay.
Yeah, this dude's vibing. This dude's vibing. I wrote down can't kill Roid Man because Adrian tries to take her little poker and stab him with it, and he's not even offended. No, he is offended, but he's not totally put off that there's an attempted murder on his life. He just wants his son to fight like a man. He says, "Don't use a weapon. Fight me with your fists, effectively. I
Yeah,
don't
I
care if you're
think
trying to
that's
kill me, but you're not trying to kill me right."
yeah, but I think that's the crux of the full scene between him forcing Adrian to dance and then hitting him and then getting in the fit. I think he's more just trying to force some kind of emotional reaction, positive or negative, out of him.
Anything at all. What we haven't mentioned is that in the car, when he's first taking our main character from the police station, he breaks down crying and says, "You haven't said a word." He seems offended that there's no emotion on Adrian's part. He seems hurt that there's no harbored anything. It could be resentment, it could be love. He just wants anything to come out of his son. And then Alexia, Adrian, tries to get out of the car and he catches them and shakes them violently and says, "Why are you always trying to run away? Why are you always trying to leave?" There's so much between these two characters. I find this codependent relationship very fascinating in that both of them are really, really searching for validation and never finding it.
And it's interesting because it seems like way Alexia Adrian try to get like attention or validation for people is through like extreme emotional outbursts. And then on Vincent's side, he's desperate to get any form of outburst from anyone around him that he
Yeah,
knows.
because
Also,
people
are
are
you
scared
on
of
are
him.
you on Discord?
He's. Oh, yeah, are you hearing that shit?
I'm hearing little blinks. Great. So we're back with the dad after the dinner party, and he overdoses on whatever it is that he's taking.
I had this noted as
And
when it's very obvious he's experiencing body dysmorphia specifically. That he looks at himself. This is Alexia has run away already, right? They are. Adrian has run to the bus station. They've left, and our dad character here, Vincent, he injects himself with whatever he's been injecting himself with. This is already a habit he has, but he looks at himself in the mirror and in this moment, absent of anything else to care about or worry about, he judges himself very harshly. He still doesn't see this the way I interpret it as someone with body dysmorphia. is that he doesn't see the way he looks. He sees the way that he thinks he looks, and he's upset with it. And he takes out an injector that he has already put in the garbage, and he just fills it with air. I don't know if this is a suicide attempt or he
Oh
so,
shit! I never saw this.
I don't know if
You're
he's
giving
so
me the information.
distraught that he's just trying to commit suicide by putting air into his bloodstream, or if he is just so mentally unwell in this moment that he thinks that pulling the plunger back and injecting it again will just give him more of what he thinks he needs right now. But this is one of the grimmest scenes in the movie to me.
Oh fuck, that's interesting. This way, this little podcast thing's good because this is like the third time I've seen this movie, and I've somehow missed that every time.
Yeah, no, same. I love hearing the things I didn't notice and being able to examine the movie more fully, because each person's perspective is only going to give them a hook on one or two little things in the movie sometimes. But this
So,
is grim, and this hurts to watch. This person that is physically fit on a level that most people aren't, and he judges himself so harshly that he's willing to hurt himself. Go ahead.
and it's to be fair, man's got a bad mirror for checking himself out. Have you ever noticed that? If you look at yourself in different mirrors, you look different in each one of them.
I do. I have a friend who has a mirror that makes you look very skinny, and everyone loves using that mirror.
I was in I went to Urban Outfitters the other week trying on clothes, and I've noticed how fat my ass was purely due to that mirror.
Fuck
I
yeah.
was changing shirt and I was like, oh,
Hell yeah. I love
I've
that.
got a curve like the letter B. Put me
Confident
off for a
dome.
sec. And I finally, like, my own mirror, I've got arms like twigs, and then in the Urban Outfitters mirror, my forearms looked huge, and I was like, this is it. This is the. I'm staying in this little changing room. I was feeling myself.
Hell yeah.
See, Steve just sent his ass into Urban Outfitters. He'd have been in a much better mood. When you're fat as
It
well,
would
it's
have
not
been.
the.
That would have been
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
getting
panacea for his dysmorphia there.
my little Ed Hardy shirt. You know, Von
Don't know.
Dutch
I
cat.
really don't know.
um, so Adrian tries to run away. I've got in my notes. Adrian discovers the horrors of public transport.
It's rough. This scene, the roughest part about it is that you don't see a resolution. There's three, I have it down as miscreants accosting woman. There's three shitty guys who are just talking about how much they want to fuck. And they start harassing this woman on the public transit, just saying, "Look at me. I'm talking to you. Look at me." And this woman locks eyes with Adrian, and Adrian offers her a little. It's not nothing. Adrian offers her, "I'm also uncomfortable," offers her, "This doesn't feel right," but is unwilling to step in or say anything about the situation. They don't draw attention to whether it's a personal safety feeling or if it's just that she doesn't want to get caught as being someone on the run. But we cut away from this scene before seeing what happens ultimately, which is very grim to me, because these
That's
three people are very hell-bent on getting a reaction out of this woman, and we don't see how that ends up.
my interpretation, because it's an interesting interaction between both characters. Because from the woman on the bus's perspective, this is just a man that looks at her and acknowledges this is uncomfortable and then leaves. From Alexia Adrian's perspective, it's I'm also a woman and I know what this is like, but you can't know that I know what this is like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Which
It's
is
a
really
weird.
dark.
It is dark, and it's like you said, it's without resolution. It's more just it's like just that one interesting little tidbit to put in the movie to make you think about. Is it something you can't really do with many other movies that wouldn't have plot this turned up to 11.
And I don't know, at the risk of talking beyond myself, it does maybe tie into the idea of this being a story about her trying to find a comfortable gendered experience in choosing not to interact with the situation as if she's familiar with it and choosing not to engage. It's interesting. I don't fully understand what this scene is trying to portray, but I find it interesting and very, very creepy.
So, Adrian dips from the situation. They
Well, Adrian goes.
Adrian decides to go back to. I don't know if maybe this is out their life they've had either neutral to negative experiences with men, and this additional negative experience with men has made them run back to Vincent, who has, whilst he's had his aggressive outbursts and like moments taking drugs in the bathroom, and that he's for the most part been supportive of Adrian. I don't know,
He's
maybe
trying to
from
be
their
understanding,
perspective.
which is
Yeah,
so much more than she or he has been offered to this point.
he goes home and finds Vincent unconscious,
I have my
and
most New York note for this, which is just OD, OD.
OD.
Yeah, OD, the letters, and then ODE, the letters. Which is just like, that's a hella OD that's happening right now.
Interestingly, goes to try and kill him again, and stops this moment, and speaks for the first time, calling him Dad,
Very
which is
interesting.
it's a whole kettle of fish that I don't know if we would have any time to go into. I feel like if we tried to go into everything in this movie, we'd end up going like 6 hour mark.
Yeah, because there's a lot packed into this. It's unclear whether or not they go back to the home just to kill Vincent, just to either get rid of this witness or to get rid of this negative energy from the experience on the bus. But seeing this person as helpless and defenseless, I have to assume sees themselves in him and sees somebody else who needs help and who needs support. Because then they are reducing themselves and they are calling him Dad finally and saying something to him in the hope that he'll wake up and be responsive.
And we don't see. I guess this is another scene without resolution. A lot of the movie kind of leaves you pondering on a scene. But the next scene seems Vincent's just been unconscious. He's okay. He's got up. Adrian is in Vincent's room, trying on what I would assume is the OG Adrian's mom's dress. I get interesting scene because you'd think, with the way the movie is leading, that this would be a woman to man trans story, and they seem very comfortable trying on all like the wife's dresses, and the dad is also, again, he's really supportive about this. He catches him in the act, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's it. Let me show you photos of when you were younger, trying on your mother's dresses."
This is
He
super
says,
interesting. This is the
"It
most
is,"
I got the trans themes during the movie, is when you see photos of young Adrian trying to dress up.
and he even such an interesting line of dialogue because he shows him the photos, and then he says, "No one could ever tell me that you're not my son,"
Yeah.
which I get you could take in so many different ways. Or not, maybe Adrian was trans and didn't think her dad would support them, and that's why they left, and that's why he's being overly supportive now, or that's just a thing happened and there was another issue that made them leave, or if he's saying directly to Alexia, Adrian, even though I know you're not my son in body, what I need from my son, who I'll probably never see again. And like it's almost like taking them in as a member of the family moment. It's,
I take it as the father being in denial actively because there's a police officer that offers to do a DNA test, and he says, "Why would I do that? Why would I not understand that I'm looking at my son right now?"
it's interesting 'cause the way you viewed the movies, you're like, this man wants to fuck his son and is in denial. And the way I viewed the movie was, this is just a man who is in denial, but ultimately knows, and now he's just trying his best to create what's missing in his life. I feel like I've got a much more positive outlook on this movie than you have.
Yeah, even when he starts, we'll get to it. I don't want to talk about it too much yet, but when he starts trying to eliminate links to the idea that this is not his son, I feel like it's more like he's trying to kill the doubt in his mind as well. Not that he's trying to eliminate evidence or facts that draw connections to that idea.
Okay, so next scene, we get an interesting parallel to the overdose scene earlier, where they're called out to a woman's discovered that her son is overdosed in bed and seemingly died.
This
And
is rough.
it's a rough scene. Again, interestingly, this is also the first scene that Adrian actively takes part in and tries to help Vincent in his job and the others on the crew.
There is a good joke before we get any of the firefighters in the room, which is Vincent is talking to this lady about her son. She's saying, "I don't like to bother my son. He had a guest over. He takes his sleeping meds. I didn't assume he was hurt or anything was wrong because he sleeps in." And then Vincent goes, "How old is your son?" And she just goes, 45.
I do like that you can tell it's a French movie because despite being horrifically disturbing, there's like these little moments of humour. Even in the scene where son's clearly dead and they're doing their like little checkups that they're supposed to do. The mom has a heart attack and Vincent goes, "Ah fuck, she's croaking it now."
Yeah, now she's croaking. Very funny, very funny. Horrible, but very funny.
I feel
The
this
way
movie
that
does
she
humour.
starts dying also is horrific, but also played in a way that it's goofy. She's like looking up at the heavens and gasping for air in more and more exasperated ways. And I think there's also a point that the movie's trying to make in this moment that Adrian is not comforting her. Adrian makes the effort once she's on the floor to resuscitate her because Vincent needs that, but there's no effort to comfort her or to give her solace in the moments before she starts dying.
You could also put emphasis on the fact that in this scene, son overdosed, well, in the previous scene it was the dad overdosed, so now the reverse. Or it's almost like a parallel to Adrian having to look after Vincent, even though Vincent is the parental figure, and they're dealing with their own issues. It's like I feel like the humor in this scene. It's Have you ever seen the movie The Coffee Table?
I haven't. I don't know what that is.
The movie The Coffee Table tries to make the blackest comedy possible, but ends up just being really boring and mostly unfunny. I feel like if Julia attempted a film, so I'm not going to say what The Coffee Table is, because I feel that'll be a fun first watch for you. But I feel like if Julia attempted that sort of humour, this is like the perfect way of being able to make it as black as possible, still retaining humorous elements in it. Even down to trying to resuscitate the mother by doing the Macarena. And rather
So
than just
fun.
keeping the
This was
beat, the
really
dad
good.
keeps singing. He starts singing actual lyrics to it.
Macarena. Casa Buena.
Like, no one would go for the Castlevania unless we're getting really into it. You just keep
Right?
giving me the
Yeah,
Castlevania.
he's into it. He likes it. He does this a lot, probably.
Oh, this okay, this next scene I have nothing on.
Is
You're
this in
gonna
the
need to help me out
endings?
here. Oh yes, no. Well, this is continuing on, but I almost skipped past it. Yeah,
Yeah, we just have.
Rain.
It's important to note because this is where Fireboy sees the police sketch and starts questioning Adrian because he's very on board with it, but suspicious. And then he notices the police sketch online and asks Adrian, "Where are you actually from?" And we get a really good moment of a disarming laugh from Adrian, and then complete stone silence and a dead face again.
Also, I think the first time we see Adrian Alexa ever smiling in the movie.
True. Yeah.
You know, maybe it's the thrill of getting caught, but or if they're maybe just trying to play along with the situation. But
Both.
there's something to that smile that I'm like, it's supposed to mean something deeper.
It's uncomfortable, for sure. And then your notes are about the party sequence right after, I assume?
Yeah, for my next notes, I've got gay steel mill Simpson scene. Adrian's going hard on the Diet Cokes.
I didn't notice that. That's funny. Maybe he's a former alcoholic.
Adrian,
Maybe. I don't know. Going hard on the Diet Cokes gives me an
okay,
impression like that.
no, you need to help me with this next scene. What's with this gay steel mill dancing scene with the firemen? You need to have
I only
some
have a
notes because I
couple
have
notes
nothing.
for this. My notes are that they're growing the tension between the Fireboy and Adrian. But Adrian is not validating it whatsoever. Adrian leaves immediately and starts dancing with their quote unquote father. And
Yeah, but why are
my
they
next,
dancing, Chris? I need help with this.
to me, they're dancing to validate themselves, to prove that they're in a concrete situation in their life. And the dad pretty quickly turns it into something more selfish. He picks them up on his shoulder, and it looks very painful because they're resting on their bound stomach at this point.
The only thing that I could think that I can take from the dancing, because it's very homoerotic dancing. We're all shirtless. We're all. It looks like a nightclub. Is it's maybe to like build uncomfortability within Adrian that they're surrounded by this very incredibly masculine yet queer environment that we're kind of trapped in. Even at that, it's like why would you go the gay steel mill scene?
It's very
I
interesting.
understand it comes back. It is maybe Julia just wanted dance moment.
I think that's it. Is it's these two characters trying to meet each other on an emotional and a physical level and generate this level of connection that both of them are desiring, even though it never fully clicks.
I
Someone is
do
always taking for themselves.
I do have one note about the dance scenes that could be something and it could be nothing. And it's that it's always in purple lighting. And on the non binary flag, the purpose of the purple line is supposed to like indicate that in between the male female binary,
Interesting.
which could be something. I feel like if you were going down that route, you would amplify the purple light on specifically Adrian and not everyone else in the room.
Right.
There's so many. I feel, and it's mental to me. I can't find any good video essays on this movie. I feel like there's so many avenues that you can take with this film. I don't know if maybe it's so hard to stay focused on one without mentioning the other, and it becomes a whole big situation.
Like you
Really,
said,
like
this
I
would be a
feel
6 hour investment, really analyzing everything as much as you could.
it could, and I feel like we would have to take months, and we would have to get non-binary speakers in. We'd have to get trans speakers in. It
Yeah,
was
I'm so glad this is not a scripted undertaking on our part, that we are just talking off the cuff. Because if this was scripted and more deliberately paced, we would have to be researching this so intensely and actually interviewing people who experience things that we assume this movie's talking about.
okay. So we have been in the middle of this dance scene again. Versus I'm going to say his name's Rian Fireboy. Strange line of dialogue. He goes up to Adrian and says that there's energy between the both of them.
Yeah, can't you feel
What?
this energy between us?
What does that mean, Chris?
I don't know, and I didn't know if Adrian was gonna try to kiss him there or not. Not
Yeah, 'cause
as a
it
legitimate
feels like
act, but to diffuse the tension.
because it feels like it's like a sexual thing, but does he mean like is he was he gay for Vincent's son? And he's like, you're ignoring this chemistry we once had, or does he know who they are? And he's like, I see your because he's also under purple lighting, so maybe it could be a queer thing on his part. And he's like, I know what you're going through. And he's such a it's weird because he's not in the movie much, but Fireboy is probably the third most important character in the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna.
Okay, I think we
So sorry, I
yeah.
need to cut again. I need to use the bathroom again. I took too many drinks this time.
Oh, I wonder where you're what, 6 drinks.
Yeah, right. My 18 drinks I'm drinking right now. So let me cut that. Is almost certainly suspicious, and in his mind, certain that this is not Adrian. That this is the person running from the cops, and the energy he's referring to is the immense suspicion and distrust.
I could see that. I could see it. I think we're probably best moving on from this scene. There's too much to dissect here, and we're gonna get stuck on this one scene. I feel both of
Yeah,
us done enough research
and this
to
is
fully get.
coming up in a second is the only bit in the movie where we see Adrian's mother.
Yeah, it's the immediate next scene, so we'll just hop right into that. And also, yeah, and it's such an uncomfortable movie because we're bouncing right back into another uncomfortable scene where the mom shows up to meet Adrian, and it's clear she's not buying any of this bullshit from the get go.
Not at all. To the degree where she still talks about the dad living so close to Adrian's bedroom without Adrian being there, even though this person purporting to be Adrian is present with them.
And the dad's not even lying to himself because they don't try and deflect that whatsoever. We just, it's denial, but it's almost
It's a lack of
well,
acknowledgement.
yeah, it's just complete disinterest in whatever the mother has to say. Um,
But he's willing to give it a moment in the air because he does ask Adrian to leave the room while they talk.
yeah, and Adrian's itching to leave regardless. I feel like
Yeah.
regardless of what Vincent was saying, Adrian's busting out of that room. This
The
is the
energy at
scene.
this dinner table is bad.
This is the heebie-jeebie scene. This is the scene that is so uncomfortable because I didn't expect it coming.
This
When
is rough. Scraping their belly.
Adrian, yeah, when they're scratching for baby bump and their finger just inside of it. Oh,
Yeah, they rip
oh.
a hole open and expose the metal under their stomach.
In fact, I didn't even notice the metal plate when I first watched it. I just saw the finger go inside the baby bump, and that's the grossest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
It's rough.
I feel it's a fair heebie-jeebie. And the
Yeah.
scale of heebie-jeebies, that one's up there.
There's so much good physical horror in this.
We get more of the lovely black ooze lactation and the crunchy baby binds.
Horrible. Yeah, I have oil leaking in my notes.
But this is when the mum walks in on Adrian, and the mum is angry at Adrian, Alexia about the whole situation. She's also sympathetic to not only Vincent and seemingly understanding that this is helping Vincent in some way, but to Adrian in a way where she's like, I don't know what you're getting out of this. As long as you don't hurt Vincent, matters.
The pity that the mother feels here is very fascinating because she sees somebody in Alexia or Adrian who is hurt and just scrambling for some semblance of comfort in a very unfamiliar situation.
It's almost like she acknowledges that even though the relationship between them's toxic, they're both healing somewhat from it. And she's
Yeah.
okay to let that be as long as it helps these two people, even though it's causing her harm. So in a way, she's also really, really, really nice.
She is. She's being as kind as someone could be in this situation.
We get the next. There's a lot of
What does
the
she
same
ask?
scenes
She also
repeating.
asks. She asks, if you were me, what would you do right now? Something like that.
Yeah, she says something about if you were in my position and you couldn't get closure that you needed, what would you do?
Yeah. Which
And
is
I think
she's
it's more
go ahead.
you couldn't do anything. I think she's more just like, this is why I'm not getting involved, because regardless of what happens here, I'm still not getting closure for my child.
I think that's ultimately where her character comes out is she's saying effectively you are keeping this wound open. You are adding to the reasons that we are unable to heal and repair from this. And I need to remove myself from this situation. In doing that, I need you as another human being to understand that you are involving yourself with someone who is deeply emotionally traumatized and understand that you have a role in keeping them stable. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
And it leads into, because this is what I was going to say previously before you added in your another thing, we get a lot of repeating scenes in this movie, but with different dynamics. Because in following into that, we get another scene of the dad shooting up his injections, but now again in a toxic way. Adrian is helping him with the injections, almost as if they are listening to what the mother said by helping him. But like,
He explicitly says, "Help me, please."
it's a weird dichotomy because it's like Adrian is helping him process the trauma of having a missing son in his life, but is also making the situation worse and causing negative effects to other parts of his life.
Yeah, they're enabling. Definitely.
You never get a film quickly where there's two people that are toxic for each other, but it also shows in a positive aspect elements that they get out of each other. Because I feel like that's a very difficult line to balance.
This movie makes efforts to show you how both of these people are both unable to get what they need from other social situations and also unwilling to change themselves to achieve those things. They are stalwart in who they are. They don't want to question who they are.
But it's a good moment of character growth because as Adrian's helping with the injections, Vincent gets angry and says to Adrian, "You're not supposed to be helping me. I'm supposed to be looking after you," which I think is it shows growth in his character from the previous scene with him overdosing and Adrian having to look after him, then going on to the scene of them helping the overdosing well, the overdosed son. It's so many little. The movie connects itself in so many little ways that it's fuck. I'm lost there, man. I'm in the trenches.
No, you're on a good point. The movie has a very deliberate scripting to it. There are themes that are deliberately put into scenes that are echoed in scenes later that continue the themes and try to close out the themes at some point in the movie. It's
You worded that a lot better than I did.
it's very deliberate and very carefully thought out, which is what makes it very interesting that the director refuses to fully define anything, and also that the movie itself doesn't definitively define anything, that it doesn't tell you what connections to draw. It's all clearly there, and it's all clearly brought up, echoed, and then resolved in its own way in the movie, but nothing is emotionally or intellectually resolved for the viewer without them having to do some work themselves.
And it's very humanizing for all the characters involved because there's so much morally dubious actions in this film that have positive and negative ramifications to the characters and the story. But the movie never bothers to tell you if any of those actions are right or wrong. It
Yeah.
leaves it up to your viewpoint and how you perceive the characters and what you interpret or meaning behind their actions are.
Yeah, I would say beyond the direct scenes of the beginning of the movie where somebody is assaulting our main character and the bus scene where people are really obviously being drunk, upsettingly gross hooligans. Only those two scenes really show people that are definitively immoral in some way. And I think you're right that that's why our main character latches on to Vincent, because he is conflicted. He's not definitively anything within all the emotions that he's feeling. He's unable to process a lot of it.
And we get the next day, Vincent's
This is
at
a
his job
forest
doing
fire.
these. Yeah, this is a forest fire.
Oh my god,
Um,
this is the best scene in the movie visually to me.
yeah, it's
We
shot
open on a
really
shot
well.
where the bottom third of the frame is obscured by darkness and smoke, and then the top two-thirds of the frame are very not out of focus, but obscured trees and an obscured eye line. Everything is very uncertain and creepy, and it's so well framed and shot.
Yeah, and it's the perfect way of directing it because we see throughout the film Vincent's having issues at work. He's losing focus. He's like struggling to stand at times, and it's almost as if visually the film's trying to portray his level of confusion in the situation he's in.
That's such a good way to put it. Yeah.
Because Fireboy even comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, are you okay? Should we secure this? It's like a caravan that we're at, and we're trying to get the gas canisters out of
Before we
the
get there,
caravan."
this is so important to touch on, and I do want to get back to that. But there's a moment where Vincent gets knocked off his feet, and Fireboy here says, "Are you okay? Are you conscious? Do you know who I am?" And Vincent doesn't answer, but our guy here immediately switches to, "Do you know who she is?" Which is very interesting phrasing and definitively shows that he doesn't trust our main character. But
And
continue. Yes, we get to the caravan, and this is one of the most interesting parts of the movie, and maybe the only action-y part of the movie, if it's that.
yeah, because Vincent and Fireboy, they arrive at the caravan. Fireboy keeps saying to Vincent non-stop, "Hey, should we secure this place? Are we okay? What's going on?" And Vincent, he ignores him and hands him the gas canister. It just just because it's terrible.
Yeah, our guy is going, should we secure this gas canister? They say this is the only one. They don't specifically define it as a gas canister or something that could explode, but
It's clearly a pressurized container, though.
exactly, yeah.
It could be a giant can of Axe deodorant. It doesn't matter. It's a big pressurized.
He just keeps saying, is this secured? And then, should we secure this? And then Vincent just stares at him and hands it to him. And we get such a good shot of this tertiary character's eyes with. It's hard to define. It's a lot of questioning, it's a lot of uncertainty, but it's also trust. It's a lot of trust for this superior that they clearly have had since the start of the movie. And he takes it. He just takes it because he trusts them.
And pressurized containers do what pressurized containers do in a very hot environment.
It's such great editing at this point because we switch to Alexia, we switch to Adrian sleeping, but you know that someone is still holding this pressurized container in the middle of a forest fire, and they don't let you linger on it for too long. It's great on a sound design and visual design level as well. You hear an explosion, and then you see a reflection of fire and flames.
So the interesting aspect of this scene comes from, do you believe this was an intentional move from Vincent to cover up Adrian's identity? Or
Yes.
do you think this is you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I see this as this person questioned too much, and I don't even see it on Vincent's part as I know you're telling the truth and I need to make sure that nobody hears what you're saying. I take it more as Vincent knows somewhere deep down that this whole situation is not real, that it's not true, and having this person so close to him questioning it is going to make him question it too much, and he needs to avoid that. And I take it as an internal act that he is silencing this person so that he does not question it, not as I need to make sure this person doesn't talk to the police.
And it's worth putting emphasis on the point that Fireboy was a kiss ass to this man. He brought him his dinner home when he knew he had a long drive one day. Like, it's clear he doesn't just view Vincent as his boss, but as someone he looks up to.
It's in that first scene when Vincent is saying, I am God, it's defining the relationship that these two characters have, because Fireboy in the forest is as questioning as he could be of this person, but still in this moment he trusts him. He takes the thing and he doesn't question it. He doesn't audibly say anything. He speaks a lot with his eyes. I love what the actor is doing with their eyes in this scene. There's so much uncertainty and distrust that they are pushing down, but they take the canister ultimately and get really eviscerated.
So, and it's weird because we don't linger on it long, because the next scene immediately has nothing to do with it. We're back with Adrian in the shower.
We do get a quick moment of Vincent just staring at. It's not very visible at all, but what you assume is a mangled body. All you can really make out in the silhouette is the oxygen tank on their back. That would have been on their back, I guess. It's just obscured in darkness. And we don't even examine how other firefighters question their superior after this event. It's pretty closed out. You're right, that we just move on from it, and then we cut to the shower.
We're getting more baby bump wiggles. It seems like Adrian has went into labour as we get an oil water break.
This is rough.
It's kind of oil, but I think we've reached the point of the oil discharge being the grossest part of the movie. I think we just accept some nice baby bean crunchies. I've got baby bean crunchies as a note like 4 times in this.
I hate that.
How else do you describe it? It's a Seems like you've bit into. You ever had a? Do you get crunchies in America?
What are you saying?
It's a chocolate bar with honeycomb on the inside. It makes a
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've had a Crunchies. It's a Cadbury bar, right?
it is a Cadbury bar indeed.
I love Cadbury. I'm a big fan of flakes. Flakes are my favorite.
It sounds like someone's branding a whole load of them.
It
The only way
does.
I can
I hate
describe
that so much. That makes me feel more viscerally than the Crunchies even do in the movie.
But here we get the first moment of Vincent not even being in denial of Alexa, Adrian actually being his son, and more just accepting them as their son, regardless. Because Vincent walks in on them coming out of the shower, and they have a small little interaction. It's not really too important to the narrative, but Adrian's towel falls off, and he sees Adrian's female body, and I've put the line down verbatim because I think it's very important. He says, "I don't care who you are, you're my son. You'll always be my son, no matter who you are." Is that clear? And then covers up Adrian with the towel that fell down, which is why, from my perspective, I'm like, oh, this is a very nice found family movie. I don't.
That's why.
How do you take it from your perspective?
I forgot to note this moment down, I'll be honest. So this moment has slipped away from me. But
For me, this is like the most important scene of the movie.
no, you're right. Yeah, I'm processing that as well right now. That it's not just about denial, but it's about these people accepting the things that they understand they need in their life and accepting that right now there's only one person who can give that to each of them.
We get the return of the gay steel mill, but this time it's a mosh pit,
It's a
and
mosh pit. And is this in the
Adrian's
same
fucking with it.
place? 'Cause they have the fire trucks and everything here. Is this where the first party was in the
No,
warehouse
I
or the
think the
garage?
first party was in Vincent's house,
Yeah. Okay.
and this one's it's a hell of a lot of firemen on this one team. We have about 40 boys,
Yeah, we've
and
never
then they've
seen
got
this
the
many
lighting
men.
on the go. Adrian's fucking with it though. Adrian is not on the sidelines. Adrian's up, fucking slam dancing.
Well, we get two firemen grabbing Adrian and shoving them on top of a fire truck. So there are other non-named characters going out of their way to put our main character in the situation where they are on display. And then this is one of the more fascinating moments on a personal validation level to me because Adrian Alexia is not getting the personal validation that they want through the whole movie, but also at the beginning of the movie, they're still sexually involved with people. They're finding physical connections, even if it's not maybe entirely what they want or entirely reciprocal. But now we have them reverting into dancer mode, to my interpretation, to feel validated and to feel desired specifically. To me, this was a very pregnancy coded moment of finding yourself so far from your preferred body and so far from somewhere that you identify as physically you that you find this moment to present yourself physically as what you have been validated as previously, whether or not they are deciding that they want to be presented as female and have people perceive them that way. That's how they've gotten attention in the past. That's how they have received energy from people in the past that they have enjoyed, hypothetically. And so they start doing this sexy dance on top of the truck with really no questioning of it until Vincent sees it and leaves, not acknowledging it. They try to extend it to Vincent specifically, it seems like. It seems like
So
they want Vincent to reciprocate that energy.
that's an interesting reading because when I first watched the movie, and I made a little short theory I sent to someone on Discord. If I can find it by the end of this, I'll read out my original reading of this film was. My original reading of that was it was them reverting back to their original, using their sexuality as a way for validation. But on this viewing, it struck more to me as they've had their time as a woman, and now they've had their time as a man, and they found validation for both of them. And this was more of them bringing both of those worlds together. They're appearing as a man, but they're dancing as they would when they were a woman. And it seems even when the firefighters, they are not jiving with us at
They
all.
boo it
We're at a
immediately.
party. Your boy got up, started throwing his pussy out. You
Good lord.
be questioning some things. Like, I feel in this because Adrian doesn't
It's a good
stop.
dance. I'm not gonna lie. It's well choreographed and it's effectively presented.
Yeah, but Adrian keeps going even though no one's jiving with the situation. So for me, I took it as more of a they've accepted both sides of themselves as who they are. And then in the moment when Vincent comes in and sees them doing this and almost rejects them in this moment, that's what causes, because even though they seem to be in labour, they're not in pain from the labour until they're alone. We seem to be managing okay, but from the second Vincent shuts down the party and leaves, the agony of childbirth seems to come back to her. Him, them,
Yeah, I like
whoever
that
we're working
reading.
with at this point.
I like that reading more because it's not dancing in that way isn't doesn't have to be specifically gendered. It's just something that they had done when they identified as female. And it's something that they found comfort or validation in, and they're trying to involve that in their current situation. But there's no effort to present themselves in any way other than how they've been perceived up until this point.
And the reason I read it this way is this is the second homoerotic dance scene that we've had. And then as I did the research into what the purple and the non-binary flag means, in fact, it's that situation again, but they're displaying masculine thing as they were when they were feminine. I was like, oh, is this supposed to be a combination of both these worlds in this one moment?
Yeah, I like
You,
that reading a lot more. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Adrian is, well, not Adrian, Vincent is probably the most you've seen him in his movie. He runs home and sets himself on fire.
He does. And this
Not a
is
reaction you want from your dad when he sees your dance.
no, we did miss a moment, the second car sex scene, where I find it very interesting how this is presented as well, because you don't know immediately if Alexia, Adrian, is having sex with somebody from the party. You hear moaning, you hear uh, bodies colliding, I guess is the best way to put it. But we cut to Adrian again, only being able to validate themselves with inanimate objects effectively. They are fucking the fire truck.
Well, at least the fire truck enjoyed the dance.
I guess so. I guess so. I guess it worked for the fire truck. But we
Uh,
then cut between this sex scene and Vincent drunkenly, lazily spitting gas on himself and slowly setting himself on fire, which is it's so horrible, and it's presented in a way that I really love, where it didn't draw out the tension, but it leaves enough space for you to feel really tense about it.
and it's realistic because it's clear he's not in the right mind as he does it, and it's a fast decision on his part. But then you see the immediate regret on himself as he's trying to put out the fire. But they
Yeah,
also don't linger on that long. They leave his fate up in the air until you see him next.
and
Is
he's not
it-
emotionally affected by this whole thing happening. He seems to. I mean, truly, the way this is presented is just as a moment of self harm, which it's rough. It's kind of horrible.
It's almost as if he can accept the femininity of his newly found son, but the idea of that being exposed to the people around him frightens him out of that acceptance for a moment.
Hmm.
Which again, that's a whole you can't you can sit on that point for God knows how long. But I think we're probably at the 3 hour mark at this point. We're probably best just zooming past that one.
Yeah,
That's for other people to discuss. I don't think we can bring that one up.
there's not even so much plot left. It's just a lot of lingering moments on these characters and how these characters are feeling in the moment, because we get Alexia or Adrian. It's maybe important to just say Adrian at this point, because this is when the whole shift happens. This is when Adrian comes in to lay with their father and just try to draw this basic moment of connection. And the father finally pulls away and is only really willing or able to offer that level of connection once the truth is finally admitted. He is finally acknowledging that this person has a body that is not how it should be presenting for what's being said to him. That this person is pregnant. He's finally acknowledging. And he's just acknowledging that this is another person that needs help. He's not. Through this whole movie, he has been acknowledging who he sees as his son as an ancillary part of his life, as something that he wants to slot into what he needs and what he thinks he wants in the moment. But as Alexia reveals herself to him and finally admits that she needs help, that she needs comfort, he's completely willing to extend himself. He's willing to call her Alexia. He's willing to accept that she doesn't want to be called Adrian in this moment, because she is finally breaking down as much as she will, because it's pretty easy to assume that she dies after this scene, because there's just too much happening to her body. And he's willing to accept that and understand that and offer this other person any level of comfort in a really horrifying situation.
Yeah, I want to go back to when Adrian returns to Vincent, because in this moment, Vincent never shows any sexual feelings towards Vincent at any point in the movie, aside from this one scene following his seemingly only full rejection of them. I took it as them using the method that they know once worked to get validation out of people as a way to try and bring back Vincent's support of them. And in Vincent's rejection of that, it's almost a realization moment for Adrian that, oh, they're not with me because of my body, they're with me regardless of my body.
Mm.
And in that moment is why they ask for help.
It's, yeah, very true. Through this whole movie, Alexia has been seeking validation in very physical ways, and maybe needs a level of validation on a physical level, because, as we've discussed, her father is detached physically and emotionally from them. Even when they are in distress, their father does not want to touch them in any way to comfort them. But finding this level of emotional connection is a new comfort to them in this sort of in these final moments for their character. And this is
So,
when we get the oil leaking to such an absurd degree.
yeah,
The
we
skin
get
tearing. This is crazy body horror.
it is crazy body horror, but it's also, in spite of how dark it is, that Adrian Alexia is dying during childbirth to this metal baby. It's also it's a weirdly heartwarming moment because it's the first moment in the film that we both acknowledge and accept each other as family, regardless of who they are. And I almost took, in that moment, it's Alexia's death into being born as Vincent's new son, which is what the baby would signify.
Yeah, she's almost.
It's almost like a rebirth rather than a death and a birth, is
And
what I
it's
took it as.
this codependent relationship reaching a mutual point in a weird and very, very complicated way. But as Vincent is finally able to acknowledge Alexia as themselves, as who they really are, and still offer them comfort even through this deception, Alexia is then able to offer Vincent the one thing he's wanted through this whole movie, which is just his own child, effectively. And it's not clean at all, but it's these two people in this insane, messy scenario offering a nugget of what each of them wants to each other, and something that nobody else is able to offer either of them.
It's insane. I have found my reading of it, and it goes in such a different direction, but it is like 8 paragraphs long.
Oh yeah, read all 8 paragraphs right now.
You want me to go for it?
If you want to go for it, I'm here for it. If you want to boil it
Yeah.
down, I'm listening either way.
Oh, okay. We could cut it if it's far too long. I feel like
Okay.
this might go on for a bit. Took it as an abusive household. When younger, the dad quickly screaming at them, and the main character's apparent lack of feelings or empathy towards her father. Mental block, i.e. the mental plate in their head. Growing up forced them to suppress their feelings, possible queerness, and their gender identity and sexuality, which over the course of our movie turned into promiscuity and violence. I also didn't take the initial murder as real, the muscle car being a stereotypical masculine image, and them being bound to the car that impregnates them, following by waking up with bruises on her leg leads me to believe they were assaulted at night. I also didn't take the swingers' murders as real, or of a metaphor for their violent repression of sexuality that caused violent revelation. I must say I was very tired when I wrote this. Oh, they burnt the family's house down. We missed it. That's why she locked him
Yeah,
in the bedroom. Oh, we
I
skipped right
completely
past
missed
it.
that. Yeah, you're right. They don't
Okay.
linger on it much, and that's part of what I like about this movie, even if it makes it hard to read, is that a lot of these moments are presented in a way that you can reinterpret them or ignore them. But yeah, we
Yeah.
don't even really hear about it until there's a news report about another fire, right?
Yeah. Okay, continuing on. Immediately followed by them burning down their parents' house, which I took as mentally detaching and removing themselves from their parents' life, effectively murdering them to the main character. On the run with the police is symbolic of paranoia and feelings of being judged, as it's in the moment of them hiding their feminine features, binding, cutting their hair, their face reshaping. Um, I took it the main character appears much happier as a man, as in that moment where violence drops, you start to see empathy shown by them.
I think
They dance
face
with their
reshaping, not to interrupt, but I feel like face reshaping is a very important note on the gender dysphoria level.
I'm getting some elements out of there.
Yeah.
We see empathy from them for the first time. They dance, but their pregnancy is always there as a reminder of their feminine body and the lasting effects of the assault from the beginning. Firemen recognising them and the anxiety that causes, maybe a commentary on the feel someone may feel when they're the fear that someone may feel when they're struggling to pass. Firefighter that cares for them also shows sign of being unhappy with their body, could mirror the way the main character. I was fuck. I have no idea what this paragraph means. I put instead of the firefighter, I'll say Vincent. Vincent and his ex-wife could also be symbolic of the male-female transition. The dad, although appears more aggressive at first, taking possible testosterone, he's trying to gain the body he wants that causes him to violently lash out. The female side, the ex-wife, rejects the idea of the main character's body and pushes him away. In the end, the main character tries to revert to their old ways by being promiscuous again, which in turn begins to kill them. Vincent rejecting the old version of him, understanding them and not caring what he or she once was. In this act, he regains the son that he once lost, and is the hero he wishes to be, regardless of his body. I was. When did I send this? I sent this at 2 in the morning to someone.
It sounds like a 2 in the morning, but there's a lot in there that's valuable, and the fact that you came back around to the end of this movie being about these people validating each other on I, a spiritual level is, I feel like, the only clean way to put it. Trying
I
to
think
transcend the physical aspects of both of their struggles and just validating each other as humans who are dealing with so much.
I think maybe my brain's put a mental block on my previous trans reading just to not say something wrong that could get me in trouble in this podcast. At least when I was typing it, I could make sure it was blocked perfectly. But the one thing that I think I was kind of on the ball with during that reading was the dad struggling to see himself as a hero and being worthy of his job as a firefighter ends up metaphorically saving the main character, and basically his character coming full circle in that moment. Do you see that, or is that just was that just me being optimistic again in my reading?
I do see that. It's not something that I processed really before you mentioned it, but there is this aspect of this character in a very public serving role, but through the whole movie, he is distancing himself from his colleagues, from his work. And as we presented, he's been through so many things so many times that now telling his son how to resuscitate or try to keep somebody's heart beating, he's just reciting the Macarena and he is almost having fun doing that more than expressing any true horrifying feelings over the situation. That it is beyond him to feel for the people that he is caring for as a firefighter in these, I guess the fire department was called in to break the door down to do this wellness check. I don't fully understand how that works in France because it would be police officers doing that in America, but it's bad that police officers do wellness checks in America. It typically does not end well. Don't need to get into that
I'm
too much. It's just that he has distanced himself from this work and from the caring aspect of his job. That I think you're right that this moment at the end is personally validating for him as a way to just be a human again.
and it's almost as if in that scene with the child that overdosed, he was gaining more from the idea of his son seeing him as a hero than he was actually helping those around him, which
Yeah,
could add into his validations. But I think for how um almost impenetrable this movie is, I think we did an okay job going over all.
absolutely. And do you have any final thoughts before we move on to the next segment that we have at the end here?
With this movie rules. I wasn't huge on Raw. I think I have to rewatch that. And maybe I've gained a lot more media literacy since I first watched Raw. Because I feel like if I watch Titane or Titane, however you're supposed to say it, I've seen like 6 different French people say it different ways. So well, I'm just going to say Titane. I feel
Yeah,
like I
that's how
wouldn't
I'm
have enjoyed
pronouncing
it as much. As Julia's films are definitely on a weird. They're not quite art house, but they're not quite your standard French extremity block nonsense that came out.
Yeah, I'm the same. I watched Raw in high school and Titane when it first came out, and I feel like even watching them now as someone who has grown more media literacy, I don't see all of these things until I talk about them with someone else. I would enjoy watching this movie again with more to interpret. And I love if people wrote in if they have thoughts on the conversations that this movie is bringing up, because there's a lot that I feel like both of us aren't really in a place to fully judge or fully examine.
Yeah, even if someone like would write into the next episode about the previous episode, I feel like that's also interesting because then you've got a
Yeah,
little like gap of time to mull things over.
and we're willing to read it out on air. It's not, it's not, this conversation isn't closed off. We would love to hear thoughts and be able to process more of this, which I think
Okay,
draws us into, if you'd like to contact us, we have an Instagram at The Uncanny Valley Pod, and we have a Gmail address, theuncannyvalleypod@gmail.com. We've received one email this week, our first listener email from friend of the podcast, Maylena. I'm going to read this verbatim. This movie feels like someone was like, I want to make a weird movie, and worked backwards from there. It felt like it was weird for the sake of being weird, and to not actually make any sort of point. Like, they do make a point, don't get me wrong, but that feels secondary to let's make a weird movie. And then it feels like they added nudity for the sake of saying, hey guys, this ain't your grandma's movie. Which, I mean, I'll never complain about seeing boobs, but let's call a spade, and a bad movie a bad movie. Look forward to listening to the episode. Shout out to Sloths and Deer. May.
the first horrendous take of the podcast, I feel. Do you know what's interesting about that, though? Just really interesting about that. Julia, the director and writer, did have nightmares about giving birth to an oil metal baby and wanted to make a movie and worked backwards from that point. So, in some way, May is right. It is a movie that worked backwards. Also, the fact that we have talked for, I'm going to say, about 3 hours now about various points of this movie, I think completely throws away the fact that there was no point to a lot of it. And yeah, there's a lot of nudity in it, but it's also a movie focused on sexuality and the human body. So how do you, and especially in a European movie, everyone's naked all the time anyway. It would be disingenuous to not have someone naked in a movie featuring those themes without actually showing it. And I get people are like, oh, well, again, it is borderline art house. It's strange. But in a way, if someone painted a painting of a naked woman and she's getting it on with like a Mercedes, and people were like, oh, but that's the car is supposed to be a metaphor for a man and it's about sex. So people be like, oh, I understand that. For some reason, there's this weird prejudice against when films do something that's abstract and metaphorical that you don't get for any other art form. I can take a strange photo of something and give a list of why I thought this photo had meaning and why I framed things a certain way, and people would go, oh, that's interesting. But people that don't like art house cinema will see millions of photos put in a straight line that looks like a moving image and go, nah, bro, that's just some weird shit. I'm not fucking with this. That's my
See,
thoughts.
I see where she's coming from. Because, especially with you saying that the director worked backwards from the imagery that she had in her head, I very much do see the disconnect between the themes of the movie. Disconnect isn't the right word, but I see a bit of distance between the themes of the movie and just the imagery of having sex with cars, to put it bluntly. They don't feel directly linked. They link up well, and it comes to an effective character conclusion at the end of the movie. But they're not
Mm-hmm.
beyond the notion of these physical connections being fabricated and being created for a functional purpose. These lines do feel drawn after the fact. And I think it
But
works, and I think the script is doing as much as it can to make it work. But I see where she's coming from.
but it's provocative imagery. There's a lot of things in a lot of movies you can say about this specific out of focus or obscure abstract scene, but it doesn't mean that it's like irrelevant. And again, going back to you could say, well, you could, if we're going back to the painting analogy, you could say, well, you could just do a rape painting, you'd be like, yeah, but there's minutia to this. There's themes that I can bring across using this more abstract and evocative imagery that I couldn't manage if I was just to tell you bluntly in a straightforward way, which is the entire point of horror. Horror takes real life situations and portrays it in a way that they say people feel safe with it, and I feel like this movie isn't supposed to make you feel safe with
No.
horrifying real life implications. It's more trying to bring across the horror of what someone dealing with those life situations would also feel.
Yeah, it's almost doing the opposite, where it's taking these horrible, very real feeling situations and it's connecting fantasy to those directly, which is interesting because in some horror, it is the opposite. It's using fantasy imagery to infer something horrible and real.
It was for a shitpost Titan. I feel like that was we gave pretty wanky, but I feel pretty good, pretty good responses.
Yeah, and I think it's a valuable perspective too, because a lot of this movie is left up to interpretation, and that does effectively leave it. I don't want to, and I can't say hollow on a functional level, but it leaves a lot of space on a functional level, which, if you are interpreting this for the first time just as a media viewer, even if you have a solid level of media literacy, it's leaving so much up to interpretation that I understand not seeing the full scope of it and not feeling like it's a cohesive narrative.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I feel like I feel like when you, especially when you start to get into more of the art house level cinema, it's less you consume and more a give and take with the movie. The movie will present to you things, and then it's more what you do with the things that is given to you. Which, if
Definitely.
you want to go, what I took from this was car sex and boobs. I suppose I can't fault you on that. I think that's what Papa Meat usually talks about when he brings this movie up. He's like, "Oh yeah, a girl had sex with." That's about as far as they'll go.
I feel like that's what most people refer to when they think about Titane, is just that a lady has sex with a car. And I guess what I'm talking about ultimately is that it's not unfair to the movie to interpret it that way, because that's what's being presented on a base level. But it's also not fair to say that that's all the movie is doing, because it's giving a lot without giving you direct notes or a direct roadmap to interpret everything.
But I think that's to its benefit, because
Yes.
I gave a reading of this movie. I then gave another reading I had at some point, and I'm not French. I guarantee there's like small minutia and things and sentences and way things are said that are probably not typical and would probably highlight certain things that I can't pick up on watching the movie. And also, I'm not trans, so I can't
Yeah.
go as deep into the trans reading.
Even beyond the trans reading of it, I'm sure there's a level of French gender politics that we don't fully understand.
I'm not a
That are being,
woman. I can't go too much into the female anatomy side of it. There's the male body dysmorphia, which I suppose I could further into. Also, I feel like that character has other issues on top of his body dysmorphia that are affecting his mind in a way that leads to it, rather than his body dysmorphia being the cause of his issues.
I see
I've
that.
not had a
It's
missing
the
child.
most visible aspect of his issues that he is focusing on. And it's ever
Oof.
present. You have to live with your body every moment. So you're reminded of those issues in every moment, rather than being able to put yourself in denial about the other issues he's experiencing.
And there's the drug abuse element, and there's self-harm elements, and there's unwanted pregnancy elements. There's so much going on that two men, straight white men, should really not be talking about.
Very true.
Well, I
On
suppose
that
that
note,
was.
yeah. Do you have an idea of what we're doing next week?
Well, we have to keep it jolly because I'm scared that you'll derail it the episode before Christmas. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a classic, but at least everyone has seen. My initial pick was Inside because I thought we'll keep French Extremity going and we'll go the far side of it because it's also Christmas. But I feel like we need to go a little bit lighter, and I've decided we will go for Gremlins,
Yeah. So I was hoping
the
you'd say
classic.
Gremlins. Okay. That's gonna
Did
be
you know I was going for Gremlins?
I felt like when you said a classic, it pretty much had to be Gremlins because it's more comedic and it's a lot lighter.
I mean, I could have said Krampus. Krampus is comedic. I feel like that's became a staple holiday movie for people.
That's true. I love Krampus. I've seen Krampus a few times.
Hell, I feel you could probably do Edward Scissorhands and like Nightmare Before Christmas on the pod if you wanted to. I feel like that worked. True.
Yeah, there's options. But
Anyway,
Gremlins
Gremlins.
feels like the most solid. I don't want to say easy choice. Easy is diminutive, but just solid and stable choice.
So I've been seeing revisionist history on fucking Gremlins. People giving it a 2.5 and a 3. Oh no
That's
no 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 no. That's insanity. This is the best Christmas movie.
Write in about Gremlins if you have some weird takes, or read it
Yeah,
next week.
write in about Gremlins, but if they're bad takes, we're not reading them. We're not having you.
We won't read them. We're going to
Yeah.
censor you if you have bad takes on Gremlins.
I'll voice over your words.
I'll try to read it, and since Pickle's editing next week, it won't happen.
I'll censor you. I'll just have Merry Christmas playing.
Great, great. Just jingle bell sounds.
There you go. You can edit some jingle bells in after you say that.